welcome to Geek Speak. This is new, right?
Right, brand new.
So let's tell you what Geek Speak is. First of all, we've always done one video a month, and it's two old geeks talk about, and we pick one topic.
Right.
You'll pick a topic?
For 2 months straight.
Yeah, and I'll pick a topic. And so, but there's a lot of things that we like to talk about that aren't necessarily worth a 25 or 30 minute video all themselves.
Fit within its own little thing.
Right. So what we're going to do is we thought we'd go crazy and do 2 videos a month. Wow. I know, we're insane. So Geek Speak is we're just going to talk about random things. And whereas they're all geek related, whenever we pick a topic, I know what he's going to talk about or he knows what I'm going to talk about. But now it's just,
it's just random.
Totally mysterious. So go for it, brother.
All right. Well, the first thing, we just come back from Comic-Con.
Yes.
And I hate standing in lines. I really hate standing in lines.
Yeah.
And that has actually prevented me from actually standing in the line or prevented me from making like weapons for costumes. I went as Odin one time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do the spear. But I didn't want to stand in another freaking line for God knows how long just to get a little piece of tape around there so I can carry my piece of PVC pipe.
Right.
So I was wondering what your thoughts on that, because I know that you brought some weapons, like this last time you brought a sword, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was Gandalf the White this last Comic-Con, and that staff is heavy.
Right.
And so, you know, I was feeling it by the end of the day. And then even the day before, I was being Kenobi, and that lightsaber, which I'll show sometimes, because sometimes this will be a show and tell.
Right. Something new.
It's real heavy. It's real heavy. So, you know, what I typically do is we usually get a room. So what I do is I go down to the con for a bit, and then go back to the room and chill. And then I go back to the con, and that gives me time to rest up, gives me time to go potty break, gives me time to rehydrate. And but people that drive from out of town, you know, they don't have that luxury unless they get them a room. So, but you see? Go ahead.
Do me a favor, put in a comment what's your thoughts on it as far as bringing weaponry and things like that to Comic-Con. Has it prevented you from actually building things and adding it to your costume just so you wouldn't have to stand in line? Or is that just me?
Well, there's some costumes you just can't hardly even maneuver a Comic-Con with, especially some of those cosplays that have the big wings and stuff on them. Typically, they put those on and just stay out in the lobby. I mean, for me, I wouldn't go with anything that elaborate. The longest I've ever stood in line was for, what's the guy's name? Sean Astin, that plays Sam Ganji for Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And so I stood in line for 4 hours for him.
Yeah.
And it was like walking through Mordor. But, so did you see the new Obi-Wan Kenobi teaser trailer?
I did. I've seen it once. It was all right. Nothing that made me like, oh, you know, nothing that just blew my mind. Nothing that just made me to.
Yeah, it's just a teaser, you know. So it'd be interesting when we get a full trailer.
Right.
But just seeing Ian McGregor back in that role, you know, is fantastic. And the thoughts of him being with Hayden Christian again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they said they were on the set together for the new Kenobi series.
Now, the villain, ain't he from the Clone Wars?
Let's see. I know they got some Inquisitors. Yeah, from Rebels.
Oh,
yeah,
from Rebels. Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but I'd seen some people, excited about that.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, Ian said, you know, seeing him and Hayden together, which they live in different continents, so they're not around each other that much, and finally seeing each other after all those years, you know, he said it was like no time had passed at all. He said it was just fun to work with him again. So I'm excited about it. I hope Disney does a good job with it.
Right.
All I really want is a good story. That's all I really want.
They did great with The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. They can do good Star Wars when they want to, if they got the right people. So, any other topic?
I had another one. Go ahead if you got something.
Did you watch Lost in Space on Netflix?
Are you talking to one that had like
it's the new one. It's like a new version.
Oh, no, I have seen some of those. Not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, okay, so I'm old school, and I liked Robbie the Robot the way he was.
Yeah. Danger, Will Robinson.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But the new one is still kick ass.
Oh, yeah,
and I love the way that I don't. We want to give away any spoilers?
That's up to you.
Okay, well, it's kind of like I like the way that they did where they kind of connected them all to bring them all to realize, you know, they're at the end that they all could be good. That there wasn't.
Yeah. I really liked. It's 3 seasons and it's finished, and without any spoilers. I really liked the first season. Second season was okay, and the third season, to be honest with you, it was kind of a chore to get through. I felt like they had a little bit of story and they drew it out too long.
Yeah, my favorite character was the doctor, Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, so growing up, Dr. Smith was the guy that was all, you know, kind of English sounding and stuffy, and oh man, so she rocked it. She didn't go that route with it.
She was probably one of the best characters.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I literally would look forward to when she was on the screen. I don't even know the actress's name. If y'all know, put it down there.
And some of the best roles are flawed characters.
Right.
Like the people that always know everything and are always the best at everything, like say Rey in the sequel trilogy, they're boring. You know, so a character that struggles, that's kind of neat.
I know something else I was wanting to add. You was asking about topics.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the cosplay thing. Is what do you do with your cosplay costumes? A lot of people have a lot of room and storage. I didn't. When I did my Odin, I kept the cape so I could use the material for something else, and I broke the foam down so I could use it for something else.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with like your Gandalf?
Well, I mean, there's some costumes that go above and beyond. So like, there's not a whole lot I can do as far as cosplay.
Right.
You kind of got to work with what God gave you.
Okay.
And so, I do a Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's one I put together and I've improved on over the years. And that's one I will always do periodically.
Right.
Because it's one of those iconic characters that will never get old. And Gandalf the White is another iconic character that won't get old. So I'll continue to improve on it. But I recycle a lot of old cosplay. So like I had a Judge Dredd, which I turned into Fallout.
Okay.
And I've got a Night's Watch, and you know how horrible Game of Thrones ended. So I'm actually gonna use it next year in 2023 for Witcher. I'm gonna switch it over to a Witcher costume. So, and it makes me feel good when I'm able to take an old costume and tweak it and make it something else.
I wish I'd had the room and like a mannequin or something, because I've seen people that, you know, have their mannequins lined up with all their costumes and stuff on it. And that's badass if you got the space. And I would have loved to kept that, because I put a lot of time in because the intricate stuff in it.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, what do y'all do with y'all's costumes? Do y'all store them? Do you refurbish them? What do you do with them? Do you pass them on? I've actually seen some people resell. Like they'll build a costume and then sell it on eBay, and they'll say, hey, I'm 6 foot something and this is what fits me and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's a route to go, I guess.
Yeah. Did you see The Expanse? Did you ever watch any of The Expanse?
Remind me what that is.
Okay, it's a sci-fi show. It started on Sci-Fi Channel, and then it got canceled. And so Jeff Bezos, and one of his good decisions in life, decided to pick it up, put it on Amazon. And if you ever get a chance to watch it, The Expanse is good. It's like it's based on a series of books, and it's you've got 3 groups of people. You got Earthers. The Earth is in rough shape. Resources are depleted.
Okay.
And you got people they call Martians, but they're really just people from Earth that's trying to colonize Mars.
Okay.
And make it livable. And then you got Belters, which are these people that they were born in space and will die in space. So they're like the lower class laborers. And so they work on the space stations and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, they can't even go to Earth because of the gravity.
Yeah.
You know, they've never lived with any place that had any real gravity, only artificial gravity.
Nobody couldn't hack it.
But what's so great about The Expanse, and I recommend it to anybody, and it just ended after 4 seasons, I think, or maybe 5 seasons. but it's well written, and it follows a real good narrative, and the science that's in the Expanse is believable. So when you look at it, you think, you know, when you look at Star Wars and you see laser swords or lightsabers, and you look at Star Trek and they got transporters, you know, those are things that we're nowhere near.
Right.
But when you look at the Expanse, they just took what science that we have and what technology we have, and they just advanced it a little bit to the point where you look at it and you're thinking,
that could be doable.
Yeah, that could be doable. So it's real good show, and if you get a chance to watch it, you'd enjoy it. Anything else, brother?
Not right offhand.
Well, let's see. Of course, we both collect comics, and we both collect primarily Silver and Bronze Age comics. So you got Golden Age and Silver Age, and Bronze Age, and Modern. I think there may be Copper thrown in there somewhere. But I never had bought a Golden Age comic. And typically you can tell what's a Golden Age comic by the price. If 10 cents or less, it's typically a Golden Age comic. So I recently got Dick Tracy, which is, you know, my name's Tracy. You know, and sometimes I call it Dick, so it seemed like a natural thing. But you know, this comic would come out in 1948.
That's cool. So
this was standing on the newsstand in 1948. So that's what's like 50, 60, 73 years old. 73 years old. I mean, hard to believe that this like just newspaper print has been around for 73 years. So I pick it up and I wonder how many people's owned it, how many kids have read it,
right?
You know, and somebody's kept it at least this type of shape. And when you read modern comics, the ink on them sometimes will come off on your hands.
Yeah.
And the paper quality is not very good. And I mean, here's a comic that's 73 years old, and the ink is still just as bright, and the paper's just in shape. And I mean, it's made of that good newspaper print. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, the thing is that I never owned a comic that old, and I would love to have a Golden Age Captain America.
Right.
And if I ever hit the lottery, I'll have one. But I decided I wanted to try a Golden Age comic, so I tried this Dick Tracy. And really, to be honest with you, depending on what you pick up, they're not that expensive. But just to have a comic in my collection that's 73 years old, I just thought that was pretty amazing. You know?
That is pretty daggone cool.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of TLC had to happen over the years for that to exist.
Yeah, for it to get to where it's at now. What's it say, January something on it?
Yeah, somebody printed on it. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I may try out there's a lot of your most expensive Golden Age comics would be like Wonder Woman, which they called it Sensational Tales or something like that. And then they had Captain America, The Shadow. That was a big one back in the Golden Age in the 40s. The Phantom. Do you remember that guy? He was like all purple.
Yeah, I actually have an action figure and some of the comics.
Oh man, if you had a Golden Age Phantom, that'd be awesome, man.
I don't know. I had to look. Now, I have some 10-cent comics.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
I might even have a 10-cent. I know I got a 10-cent Avengers.
Yeah.
That has Captain America in it.
Yeah.
And I might have a 10-cent Captain America. And if I do, it's yours because I think it's got to do with the death of Bucky.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to give it to me. But if you do, I'll take it. So let's see. And also, we're going to keep each one of these videos 15 minutes or less. Sometimes we get to rambling on Geeks, on 2 Old Geeks Talking, and we go over 15 minutes, so we'll make sure we don't do that here. So hit the like and subscribe button. And like I said, we'll put on not only 2 Old Geeks Talking each month,
right?
But we'll do a Geek Speak as well.
Yeah, these won't be as in-depth as the other one.
Oh, no. And it'll be more like some of our 2 Old Geeks Talking. I mean, you can go back and watch the first one. It's as relevant as it was today.
Right.
Then as it was today, it's about Blade Runner. And but we'll talk about a lot of modern stuff going on, stuff like that, and some show and tell, maybe some stuff we picked up at the Comic Cons or at the toy store. But anyway, all right, thanks for joining us, man.